it is now time to grid out your final project. So you'll need your printed out picture and you'll need your final paper as well. In this video, you'll see how to grid out and make a grid over your portrait, over your actual project itself. And then you'll see how I do my outlines for what I'm going to be painting. I will not be showing the painting part, but you'll see, erasing those grid lines, and then you'll be starting with the background. Sorry, you can't really see it there very well. And then your completed project. Those will be in a separate video. You should have completed a grid practice worksheet to make sure that you know how to grid it properly before you begin. That'll make this process much easier. So you're going to want to start with your portrait. So basically when I do this, and you'll kind of see me how I use the ruler. So it's an 8.5 inch paper. So I divide that in half. So I got 4 1/4, and then 2 1/8 is half of that. Plus 2 1/8, it'll be 6 3/8. So you'll want to make a mark at each of those. So 2 1/8, 4 1/4, 6 3/8. You do that at the top and the bottom, and then you connect those lines. The reason why you do it at the top and the bottom is to make sure that that line stays accurate. You're going to be making the line straight, but accuracy is more the key here. Now it's an 11-inch long paper, and so half of that is 5.5 inches. Half of that is 2 3/4, and then it'll be 8 1/4 for that final one. So 2 3/4, 5.5, 8 1/4. Same thing. You'll then be connecting the lines again, once again, trying to keep things as accurate as possible. The more accurate, the more likely your project is going to be successful. Once you have your photo gridded, then you'll grid your final project. So I have a 12 by 18 piece of paper, and so 12 divided by 2, I'm going to half it, and that's going to be 6, and then it's going to be at 3 and then 9. So it's 4 parts, 3 inches, 6 inches, 9 inches. Once again, connecting the little tick marks. I'm drawing lightly here because you're going to be erasing these lines later on. So you really want to make sure that you're really not pressing hard into that paper at all. All right. Then the 18-inch side, so half of it is going to be 9. You divide that in half, you get 4.5, and then it's going to be 13.5. All right, so 4.5, 9, 13.5. Same thing, connect the little tick marks, and then this way you're getting an accurate grid to expand your smaller image into your larger image. Now, before you start actually doing your drawing, please make sure that you've practiced your gridding worksheet, and so therefore it'll make this project easier. So I like to focus on the outlines, look at those value changes. You're going to want to kind of define those shapes and value changes, because this is going to be a guide for your actual project. So you have the option, you can either draw on it like I did here with pencil. Sometimes that helps just define where you want those lines, but don't worry about every single little detail. Just focus on the general areas. You can add the details and you can make those changes with the paint. If you don't like the pencil, maybe it makes it a little bit too subtle, you can go through with marker and you can kind of see how I went through and outlined a lot of the major areas. But I didn't even go through and do all of them. If I didn't feel like I needed it, I didn't outline it. And once you have that, you are ready to begin the process of actually gridding out your photo. So there is a border, you can see it with this, with the paper being printed off. And so I actually think it kind of creates a nice frame for the actual piece. So I go around and I start by doing that first. Once I have that all done, then you just go square by square, same thing as what you do for your practice worksheet, where the lines are or the edges or the shapes or however you're leaving them. Wherever those are in each box, that is where you draw them on your final. Now, the lighter you draw, the less likely you are to have to paint multiple coats in order to cover up your pencil lines. If you're drawing too darkly, then it is gonna show through your paint and you're gonna have to paint multiple coats in order to get it to be covered up. So draw lightly and really just kind of worry about like general forms. Remember that I'm looking for the accurate proportions, but you can make your own style with this. So however that ends up looking, just go with it. Now keep in mind that there's a difference in being intentionally textured versus just being sloppy because you're rushing it. So find a style that works, is high quality, is unique, or you can just match what is in the actual photo itself. Right now, just worry about the proportions. You can worry about the style later on. Now, once you have a loose sketch, you can go back in and you can make any adjustments, detail changes, stuff like that. Look at your photo, look at maybe what you need to do to change it to make it a little bit more accurate, because you really want to get it as accurate as possible. If you do that now, it makes it a lot easier later on. Once you have it all kind of generally out, you want to erase those grid lines. Once again, one less thing that you don't have to worry about painting over. So it's really just to help save you in the end. Now you'll see next here that I actually go through and I kind of do a little bit of shading in there just to help me mentally. And then after this video, I actually go through and I do make adjustments to my drawing because I felt like her face was a little too long, so I had some of the proportions inaccurate. So you can see that in my project in class. So good luck.